Wow. I didn't realize I watched that much TV. Hello YouTube, my name is Marie, and today we're going to talk about all of the shows, the K-dramas, and quite a few C-dramas that I watched in September. I can't believe it's October already. Like, it's wild to me that this time last year I was in Korea. Crazy how time flies, and I can't believe that I was there and I'm no longer there. So first one I'm going to talk about is my First Life, Season 2. I watched the first 3 episodes of Season 2 and I was extremely underwhelmed. I feel like I've discovered something about myself, or at least acknowledged something that has always been there. I am the type that needs to binge, or at least watch something consecutively. I never used to be like this. Like, if I was watching English speaking shows like that have multiple seasons, like that's very normal, then I would have been fine to watch one season and then wait and get excited for the next season. But because I think I've become so used to having like contained arcs, like, okay, sit down, watch 16 episodes, you're gonna get a full satisfying story with like no loose ends, and it's gonna be all wrapped up nicely together, and then you can move on. Like, I think I'm so used to that now that like going back to watch season 2 of my First Life, I just was no longer interested in these characters that, to be frank, didn't really pull at my heartstrings to begin with. I just feel like I'm finished with the story already, because the ending of the first season I thought was like ambiguous in this really perfect way that subverted a lot of like standard K-drama romance tropes that to me I'm not a fan of. So now, like, going back to season 2, and I can start to see where the story is going to develop and how characters are going to, you know, and I'm just not into it, and I just don't really love the characters, and yeah, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with the series. So then I watched 15 episodes of Personal Taste. This is a story about a naive woman who's been stepped on by everyone. She's been cheated out of money, and like just overall she's such a very like loving and optimistic and like naive personality that she's a huge pushover, and she like allows people to do that to her. She's like, you want to walk all over me? Okay. But she's also the daughter of a famous architect, and he designed their current home. And another architect, through some, you know, like not super honest means, ends up renting a room in this house for the purposes of like studying it and like wanting to find like the architectural influences in the reason why she allows him to rent this room is because she thinks he's gay, and he's actually not, because obviously this is a K-drama romance. But this is something he comes to know, like he realizes that she thinks he's gay, and he's like, well, I'm just not gonna correct her. So like that's the overall like really convoluted, messy plot of it all. When I say the show is convoluted and messy, I really think that, and the first 2 episodes especially are really problematic in a lot of ways. But there's just like, there's certain things with like attempted rape and just like that are not handled with grace. Like, the first 2 episodes are not good, and I almost turned it off, and I'm shocked at myself that I pushed through it and continued, because you do get attached to these characters, and the whole storyline and like the messy angst of it all about like him pretending to be gay and he's not gay, and like this woman, like, you know, it is a lot of fun and there is enjoyment to be had. But if you go to watch it, first 2 episodes are bad, and it kind of keeps that kind of problematic flavor for the entirety of the show, so be warned. Next, I watched 3 episodes of a Chinese drama entitled Legend of the White Snake. Now, this one didn't leave much of an impression on me in any regard. Like, it's visually nice, like I think the costumes are nice, the actors are very, you know, attractive and blah blah blah, but the story didn't really pull me in any way. It felt like the first 3 episodes were a lot of filler, like not even story-wise. So I watched 3 episodes and I'm like, let's find something else. I am on episode 43 of Arsenal Military Academy. I have a review of the first 15 episodes, so I'll link that down below. And I love this series. At no point within these 43 episodes have I been bored, and I love it. Like, people have told me that, you know, like, it's got a meandering storyline, like, you have to be willing to watch filler, but that's not how I feel about this show at all. The way I would describe it is if you were playing a really in-depth game, a game like Dragon Age or Oblivion or Skyrim or these sorts of games where it's like they have a main storyline, but you can go and do all these side quests or like character driven side quests, and that's how I feel about this show. I feel like there is an obvious end goal, but I'm having so much fun doing all of these side quests, like, let's keep going, like, you know? Then, because I really loved the leads within Arsenal Military Academy, I went out to find the other series that they star in, being The Legends, and I was interested in watching it, and then I got a comment saying something along the lines of, only the Asian race will appreciate The Legends. You're just making me want to watch it more. It's really hard to describe because within 8 episodes, the story changes so much. Like, there's like the initial story within the first 2 episodes, and then there's like a time jump, and then there's a little story, and then there's another time jump. So it's like about like a demoness and a son of the demon god or something, and a perceived like betrayal between the two. I actually enjoyed the first 5 episodes immensely. I liked the characters right away and I was invested. What I have to say about the time jumps is I was slightly annoyed, but in my mind, if you're going to jump ahead and like bypass obviously interesting storylines, then there must be something even more interesting to come. You know what I'm saying? But then at around like episode 7 and 8, I realized that they aren't fast forwarding to a much more interesting, dynamic, juicy storyline in the future. They're fast forwarding all this interesting plot to get to filler. And I was like, no thanks. But that did make me realize how hungry I am for an actual really good fantasy. So if you have a really good fantasy, again, there really needs to be romance in there for me. So like, I know of the Chinese drama like The Untamed. I know that that's really popular right now, and it looks like it's just puking fantasy everywhere. So I am interested, but I'm like, you're not categorized as a romance. Moving on. I watched Drama World. Now this is like a mini series. I think each episode is only 10 minutes long, and I think there's only 10 episodes. And it's on Viki, and it's about an American girl, or like a English speaking girl, who's like obsessed with K-dramas, and then she gets like sucked into K-drama land, like Drama World, and it's a world with like very distinct rules. Like, if a girl goes to faint, like a guy will catch her, or like spontaneous drunken piggyback rides, like it's a thing. Mildly entertaining, and there were moments that I did chuckle, you know, like it's very self-aware. Like they're talking in a car, and the car is like speeding down the highway, and then the female lead is eventually like, shouldn't you be looking at the road? And he's like, oh yeah, right. Like, it's poking fun at like little things within dramas that we've all noticed. She'll ask like, oh, why does your car have tape over its logo? And the male lead will be like, what logo? Like, it's very self-aware in that respect, but something about it felt icky somehow to me, and I don't know if this is just me. I don't know if I just like was reading into things weirdly, but bypassing the fact that this is kind of a white savior story, it also feels really delusional, more of a fantasy than any of the romance dramas that I've actually watched have felt like. It just feels a little weird, really self-indulgent. Like it feels like it was written by a white girl who really wanted to insert herself in a like romantic fantasy kind of way. Next, I watched about 30 episodes of Suspicious Partner. I have a first impression that's really, really, really old. If you want to go back and watch how cringy I was, feel free. I feel like I'm noticing a lot of themes within Suspicious Partner that I didn't really catch on to the first time around. So that's why I'm considering doing a full review of it. Let me know if you'd like that. Next, I watched the first 2 episodes of Melting Me Softly. You guys, it's just so nice to see him again. And also it's starring, like the female lead is the actress from what is it called? Just Between Lovers. And I didn't realize that at first. I was like looking at her and like really looking at her and I'm like, you're so familiar. And then I figured out where she was from. So that got me really excited as well because it looks like she's changed quite a bit. So I'm really excited to see these 2 actors like interact, and also the story I think is great. Like I'm really enjoying it so far. I have to kind of like sit my butt down and remind myself that it is only the first 2 episodes, because even though I am enjoying it so much, I'm like, it's not quite there. And I'm like, okay, you've had 2 episodes. Of course it's not going to be exactly what you want right off the bat. Like, let the writers establish the world and the characters. Like, be patient. That's hard. I just want to binge it. Lastly, we have Vagabond, and I've watched 2 episodes and like maybe the first 10-20 minutes of episode 3, and I thought I was gonna do a first impression of Vagabond. It's one that I've highly anticipated. I feel like I've been waiting for it forever. It's been pushed back a couple of times. Hasn't disappointed. Like, I love the story. I love the leads. I think they're doing such a great job. Like, the establishment of the characters is really quick and you get invested really fast. But there's so much shaky cam, like so much shaky cam, to the point where I almost feel a bit sick when I'm watching it. And it's so frustrating because the shaky cam is covering up obviously good and well choreographed action. Like, so much shaky cam. And who wants shaky cam? Nobody wants shaky cam. Ugh. Every aspect beyond the filming, like the cinematography of it, like, it's really good. It's what I wanted from it. But the shaky cam. Now, I can't remember if Moment of 18 finished in September or not. Like, I can't remember. Did it finish in September or did it finish in August? I have no idea. But anyways, I am done with that. Loved it. Beautiful. Love, 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 love Moment of 18. So that's everything. That's everything I watched in September. Have a good day. Have a good night. Bye.